Good morning. It is December the 29th, 2025, and straight from the highly caffeinated studio, this is According to Willie B., and I am your host for the next half hour. And because of our subject matter today, let me just go ahead and say this is really me. This is not AI. I am real. If you pinch me, I will probably pinch you back. So, and the reason I was like, what are you talking about, Will? Why are you talking about AI? Well, let me tell you, because today we're going to talk about the changes coming to the travel industry in 2026, which is literally days away. And that's scary to think about, that 2025 is almost in the books and we're about to be in a whole new year. The years as you get older, I promise you, they just fly by. And if you're anywhere near my age, you are sitting there nodding your head. But for what we're going to talk about today, buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. There's going to be some, let's call it podcast turbulence in today's program. Now, what am I talking about? Well, as I was studying the changes coming to the travel industry in 2026, there was one clear denominator. I won't call it a winner. There was one clear denominator that came out in all of it. And I hope that all of the, let's call it verbiage from all the experts, and I do the air quotes because the experts, they're saying, oh, this is going to be a great thing. Okay, we shall wait and see. But they're talking about AI and the role that AI is going to play in the travel industry changes coming in 2026. And there's a lot of them. And we're going to talk about three specific travel industries. And the AI is going to be changing the landscape in all three of them. And one being air travel, the other being cruise ships, and the last one being hotels. Now, you're saying, okay, how could AI have such a big impact in such a just overnight? Well, it really hasn't been overnight, if you want to think about it. AI has been kind of slipping through the cracks and kind of coming up from behind, and they're like, God, I'm nothing to worry about. Don't worry about me. Now, I'm not one of these conspiracy theorists that's like, oh my God, AI is going to take over while I'm sleeping tonight. AI is going to seep into my brain from my cell phone. That's not what I'm talking about. But it is changing a lot of things, and you have to be successful and to have a good quality of life. I've always said that you need to embrace change, and I'm trying. And so I'm sitting back in the spectator seats, more or less the cheap seats, if you will, and trying to watch from a 50,000-foot view of what AI is going to change in 2026 for us. So let's dive into it. Let's take a look. So first of all, air travel. What is AI going to do? Well, supposedly our good friends over in the airline industry have looked at travel for 2026, and they have decided, the experts, air quotes included, are saying that people are looking for a more immersive experience when they travel. I'm not sure where I want to put my thought pattern on that. So the jury is still out on that one. And when I figure it out, I'll come back to you right here and let you know. But to me, anytime, and I've said this many, many times, the memories are in the miles. Now, what AI has to do with putting more immersive memories into my vacation, I don't know. Can AI make it more seamless, less quirky and combobulated? Yes, it could, because it could streamline how you book your ticket, how you go through security, how you find your seat on your plane. Speaking of, let me just give you a couple of instances. Number one, And I was not a big fan, but I'm trying to be open-minded here. And it's because I've always been a big fan of Southwest. And Southwest has always had that open seating. I absolutely love it. A lot of people hate it. And you know, it's vanilla, chocolate, strawberry ice cream, whatever, whichever flavor you like. But I always liked because I was always the early bird. So I always got good seating on Southwest because I was set an alarm and make sure that I checked in at the very second that it would take my check-in, and thereby guaranteeing me a primo spot on getting checked in. And then I would be able to find me a decent seat where I'm not at the back of the plane. I could get a window seat when I wanted to, et cetera, or an aisle seat. You do not want to stick me in the middle seat. It's not going to be comfortable for any of us. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. But so AI could be a game changer when it comes to booking, because you're going to be able to book a seat to your liking. I don't know how that can be any different, but they say it's going to. So we shall wait and see. I saw a news article just yesterday, that we're not even into 2026. And here's American Airlines coming out. And American Airlines has never been my favorite go-to, but they are my backup to Southwest. So here's what they propose for 2026. Their first remark or vocal input into 2026 changes is, hey, we're not going to do award miles on economy seats anymore. It's my understanding they're facing some major backlash over that, and I don't blame the people for getting upset. You've always given us, it's one of the things that I've always said about any business. You can always give more. When you start a business, you can always give more, but you can't give less. If you start out, let's say you've got a restaurant and you put 4 chicken strips on a plate, and then the cost goes up, so now you only give 3. You're going to get a lot of backlash. I've always gotten 4. I've been eating here for 20 years. I always get 4. Yeah, you see the story. Unfortunately for restaurant owners, most of the time what they do is they just cut the quality. So the good chicken strip that you used to get is now maybe a little mediocre, or maybe it's a little smaller. You still get 4, but you're cutting the quantity. And in the restaurant industry, to be successful, you cannot cut either one of those. You cannot cut quality and you can't cut quantity. It goes the same with any business, and especially in the hospitality business. Case in point, and we'll get to it more in a minute when we talk about hotels, because they're on my pet peeve list of how they've cut back. And they cut back in very minuscule ways, hoping that we won't notice. Now, to me, I don't know if it's because I've gotten bigger or the planes are getting smaller, but it seems to me that airplane seats are getting smaller every time I travel. And I get it. They're trying to put more people on a plane, which kind of makes you scratch your head when you think, okay, well, my suitcase was 2 pounds over, and you made me take out 5 pair of socks because my suitcase, because we're going to make the plane crash because we couldn't get off the ground because of my socks. Come on. I get there has to be some sort of weight limit, but I mean, I think they take it to the extreme. So they are going to revamp some of the lounges in the airports, trying to make the airports more comfortable, more of an immersive experience. Although there is going to be tighter security, they're going to have more advanced security using, yes, you guessed it, AI, which is going to catch more hidden items in individual bag checks. So, it's like you're going to give some and get some. So I think it's a give and take situation there. Now, it is predicted that there's going to be more mergers between airlines, and we're already seeing some this year between airlines. And I don't think that could necessarily be a bad thing unless we get it down to where we have one airline. Now, I'm sorry what I'm about to say here. I'll just go ahead and apologize now. If you've ever flown on Spirit Airlines, let's hope that they don't take over the air industry, because the only choice we have is Spirit Airlines. Oh, Lord. I'm going to tell you right now, you'll see me walking a lot of places or driving because they're, checking into train travel because, wow. No, thank you. No, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to, if you are at all familiar with Spirit Airlines, there's a ton of different memes on the internet, and they're all 100% true. But, so there's a lot of integration from AI that's going to be happening with the booking. Now, for me, I've never really had any difficulty booking airline tickets. I will say that some airline websites are more user-friendly than some of the others. And it's not because I'm biased, but to me, Southwest and United have the two easiest booking websites. American Airlines, it can be a little quirky and cumbersome sometimes if you're trying to be picky, or if you're trying to maybe, fly into different cities or fly out of different cities. It can be kind of quirky sometimes. It's gotten better. I will say they have gotten better. So supposedly this AI is going to make booking a lot more simple. If that's the case, then great. Welcome them or them or him or whatever, he or she or whatever this is, the AI, this multi-microchip coming in. I welcome it with open arms. But we shall see what it brings. But, for me, I think the biggest change in air travel that needs to happen is on-time flights, for one. Less cancellations. And I know there's some people standing up in the back going, that's what I'm talking about right there. Because it gets old with flights being delayed and being canceled you plan your vacation, you can plan it till the cows come home, but hello, you're at the mercy of an airline. Oh, I'm sorry, we canceled your flight, and it's we just don't have a plane to put you on. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Airline Industry. I'm sorry that my vacation got in your way of scheduling airplanes. Although I did book this 3 months ago, and you knew that I was going to be here today. So there's that. So I'll try not to get off into air travel rant. But they are saying that they are expecting a decline in airline seats in this next year. And by seats, I mean butts in the seats. I don't really see that happening unless they continue on the road that they're on, because then, yes, I could see more people going, it's a 3-hour flight, but we could just rent a car and drive there and be there in 3.5 hours and skip all the hassle of the airport and the travel. So I could see, if they continue on the path that they're on, that airlines could see some trouble before the end of 26. We shall see how my prediction goes. I am not at all an expert. I am just opinionated. So, and every one of you know that. All right, so let's jump over to, I'm going to skip the cruise. I'm going to come back to the cruise. But I want to talk about one of my biggest pet peeve industries, and unfortunately they are a necessity, and that is the hotel industry. Now, you're saying, Will, why are you so upset with the hotel industry? This industry, I was about to go a different road, but I'm going to be nice. This industry has been taking away more things than a cheap buffet. And what am I talking about? I made a comment a couple of weeks ago. Somebody said something, and it was at work, and somebody said something, and I said, my patience is growing thin with that person. And they said, how thin? I said, as thin as hotel toilet paper. If you've been in a hotel any time in the last 2 or 3 years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. How did they make toilet paper that thin? I mean, I picture in my mind this mega factory machinery and this super thin toilet paper that it's so thin you can only see one side coming down these rollers. How does it do that? Because if you try to unroll it, it will break every 2 or 3 sheets. So how do they have it on stainless steel rollers flying across there at blinding speeds and the stuff staying together? No, I'm not buying it. I think they're making it on the roll. I don't know. Maybe there's some little little berries or something in there making this stuff as thin as they do, but it's thin. It's got to stop. It can't get any thinner. Here's another thing, hotels. Booking is less than optimal most of the times. They will work with you on getting your hotel booked. If plans change, that's on you. I book through Expedia 99.999% of the time, and I sometimes if I remotely think there might be a chance something's going to happen, I'll buy the insurance just so that I don't get taken to the cleaners. I lost my train of thought. That the train does, and see, we're not even going to talk about train travel, but here's my thought process: train jumping the tracks. But I don't know. Let's talk about this. So let's say, if you've rented a room at a hotel for, let's say, 2 to 4 people. Okay, now the average hotel you can get either 1 king bed or 2 queen beds. Now, 2 queen beds would sleep 4 people. So how many towels and washcloths, etc., do you need for 4 people? Well, I would think you would at least need 4 of each. But the room can have 2 queen beds, but only 2 towels and 2 washcloths. So, and try to get housekeeping. That's an act of Congress. And if you've ever done a multi-day stay, most hotels now don't clean the room and restock the room every single day. You have to ask for it. So they're finding little subtle ways of just cutting back. And that's not the only places. I mean, it's just they've tried to make all these little minor cutbacks. And I don't get me wrong, I get it. They are up against the wall when it comes to trying to make a profit. And if they can't make a profit, they're not going to be in business. I get that too. But there's got to be a way to add value service without taking away the value. Now, I don't know what that looks like. I'm not a hotel operator, owner, whatever you want to call it. That's not my forte. I'm just a lonely tourist that sees the changes that have been made, and this is what we're left with. And I keep thinking, if they keep cutting back, what are we going to be left with in another year, 2, 3 years' time? So AI is going to be integrated with the hotel industry as well, helping them with better booking. And are you ready for this one? Are you sitting down? Because this is the big one. AI is going to step in, and it's not going to take over for the human. It's going to be collaborative. So what are they talking about? Let me tell you. Hotels are constantly having to update their pricing multiple times a day. Now, there's some hotels that say we only change our pricing once a day, twice a day, whatever. Wrong. This new AI collaboration pricing will update every 30 seconds if it has to, but it's going to look at weather pattern changes. It's going to be a collaborative effort with management because it's going to look at the decisions that they've made over the past however long they program in, and it's going to emulate those decisions, but it's also in real time going to take the data that is coming in from the reports and it's going to marry that up, and voila. You might book a room right now at $79 and wait 30 seconds and it went to $59. Now, I know I'm talking in 1959 prices because now it's like you have to add another digit in there. But let's say it's a Tuesday afternoon and you want to book a hotel in Orlando. So you go on their website, or Expedia, if you're me, and you book this hotel for $179. And then you talk with the family and they're like, oh, we'd really rather stay on the other side of town if possible. So you go, you find a hotel for over there. You book that room. Now you got to go back and cancel this other room. Good luck. If you're far enough in advance, you shouldn't, air quote included, have a problem. But let's say that the plans change back literally in a few minutes because you're in the middle of planning. You're like, you know what, that's going to be too far away. Let's go back and get that other original room that we had booked. So you go back and you go to book that room. Oh, now it's $199 or it's $209 or it could be $139. It could have went down. But this is what AI is going to do to the hotel industry is they're going to be able to change the pricing based on competition, weather data, travel seasons, whether peak season, off season, shoulder season. If you're not familiar with what shoulder season is, it's kind of like the area of peak travel season that either right before or right after to try to get that discount. So, AI is going to help the hotel industry with pricing, and it's also going to help with, doesn't mean it's going to be in your favor, but it's also going to help with booking. And for me, booking on Expedia, it's one of the easiest ways to book. I rarely, if I can't remember the last time I've used a hotel website to book a room, unless it's sometimes a hotel I want may not be in the Expedia lineup, if you will. So I will go to their website and then usually it will drive me back to Expedia and be like, you know what, this one's fine. Because I don't want to deal with the quirkiness of an independent website because it can be kind of cumbersome sometimes. So let's talk about the cruise industry. Changes coming to the cruise industry are going to be the exact same. AI is going to be heavily involved. And again, the thing about the cruise industry is that they are seeing a just massive influx of people traveling. They are not having any cutbacks. Doesn't mean that they don't do some cutbacks to kind of pad that profit year-end data, if you will. But, they're right now they have about an average of 21.7 million U.S. passengers projected for 2026. And this is why you're seeing the new mega and then extra mega, I call them, ships. So I don't know how much larger these cruise ships can get. I think they're actually testing the no pun intended, but they're actually testing the waters on how big they can get these cruise ships to be, okay? But they're having record passenger volume, new ships, and expanded fleet. They're trying to update their sustainability, looking for alternative fuels and better wastewater treatment systems, etc. And they've also included efforts to reduce food waste. Now, What does that mean? Oh, well, it just says, oh, well, that's good that they're going to reduce food waste. Well, if you remember the old school midnight buffets, I'm going to ask you one question. Where are they now? Well, I'll tell you where they are. They disappeared. And you probably are going to see less buffets or smaller buffets. They may be the same size, they'll just have less items because they're going to try to reduce food waste, and that's how they'll do it. You could see like smaller portions. You could see, there's a lot of different ways they can tackle that. So it could be. Here's an idea if the cruise ship industry is listening. If you really want to integrate and be collaborative, word of the day, with AI, use AI to help you predict how much food you're going to need for that 4, 7, 6, whatever day cruise it is. There you go. You're welcome. But, there's going to be some smarter AI enhancements on cruise ships, like better connectability, as they call it. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's going to be better and faster Wi-Fi. It's going to be wearable technology, like probably a bracelet or something of that will help with boarding, personalized recommendations, payments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, there's a lot of changes coming to the cruise industry, and they're being collaborative with AI. Now, again, the cruise industry is stating for 2026 that they want to have a more immersive experience for the passengers, because they say that that's the future of travel, is people are looking for a more immersive experience. Every time I go on vacation, I'm looking for an immersive experience. That's not something new for 2026. And so if that's what people are saying, then somebody's been missing out, because anytime you go on vacation, you're looking for an immersive experience. You're not looking now. No, don't get me wrong here. I like riding on the boat, looking at the sharks in the water. I don't want to be immersive and jump off the boat into the water with the sharks. So that could be an analogy for a lot of different things. So keep that in mind. But, they're talking about micro cruising, smaller expeditions on river ships, that more remote ports, et cetera, et cetera. I can see that, but I don't think that's a major thing for 26, because otherwise we wouldn't be building cruise ships the size of, Manhattan. Just my opinion. Look for more specialized itineraries focusing on wellness and kayaking, hiking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sorry. Hiking. No. And there's a lot of people that do like to go hiking. Unless there's a cheeseburger up there, I'm not going up there. So I'm not going to swim with the sharks either. So there's that. But this is just some of the changes that are coming to the travel industry in the big year of 2026. There is another change coming here to according to Willie B. Highly Caffeinated Studio projects as well. We just launched first episode will hit the airwaves tomorrow, and it's called Real Slot Talk with Willie B. It is just another podcast that will have its own definition, where it talks about slot play and kind of some of the weird things that are surrounding casinos and all those kind of fun things. So if that's kind of your thing, you can hop over there and check that out. It will also air on the same day and the same time as According to Willie B. So it will be on Mondays, and they actually air at 1 a.m., and that is for all of our folks over in Singapore, Germany, and the list goes on, because we're in 23 different countries now. So it's just been absolutely crazy. It's been a roller coaster, but I've enjoyed every single minute of it. Don't forget, you can check more stuff out at www.accordingtowillieb.com. I told you more merch was coming. hats will be coming to the website within the next 2 weeks. I am checking out some different hat options, different patch options, whether it's leather or metal or et cetera, et cetera. There's a whole plethora of choices out there. So we're kind of just seeing what's the best. And I promise not to take as long as I did with the t-shirts. I'll have them out. I'll have them up on the website within a couple of weeks. And so you guys can look for that. I'll keep you updated on it. Don't forget to caffeinate and conquer. That is one thing that AI will not meddle with. AI is not going to step in and make caffeinating and conquering better. I don't think. But as far as I'm concerned, no, it won't. But that's me. Until next week, I will see you then. My friends, have a great day, and thank you for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.